What's going on, everybody? Hey, everybody, hello, and welcome to another episode of iSpeedToLead show. And today we have the Sicilian brothers. I'm almost afraid of saying that name. It sounds like someone's gonna whack me. But hey, jokes aside, this is gonna be an awesome show. And Yuri, thanks for putting this together. I'm excited. I'm excited. How are you guys, Nick and Tony? What's going on?
Thanks for having us on, man. So much. Thank you very much. Yuri, awesome. Pleasure to finally meet you guys.
Sweet.
And for you guys who are not familiar with the Sicilian brother guys, so if you enjoyed our live stream that we had recently about some of the cool strategies, how to close deals, how to buy deep, we are bringing more of REA as fuck, as Gene told previously. So, and those guys are telling us that they will reveal to you some of the strategies your gurus are not teaching. So that these guys have one of the best acquisition and disposition teams. And you can also actually check their mastermind down below if you like whatever you hear. So make sure you join. And they're sharing a lot of cool things. And yeah, cool to have you. And can you tell us a bit more? Because I know I probably didn't do well enough on that. So you tell us.
So for the past 4 years, we've been running a very high-end, very selective real estate mastermind in DFW called REIAF. And then two months ago, we just revamped it completely. And then we're bringing it back as a community now, and we're offering it pretty much to everybody. And we dropped it down to $100 a month, and it is, I'm no bullshit, I'll put it up against a $60,000 program, right? Every day I'm going live in there for 2 hours, and we're just talking real estate, helping people do deals. Why are we talking real estate and doing deals? Because we do a lot of them. Currently, we have 32 on the board. I know we just wiped some off. Tony's been doing real estate for 20 years now. I've been doing it since 2018, 2019. So we know what we're talking about. We've been doing it consistently. And now we're just I'm not trying to teach you how to buy, but I'm trying to teach you how to buy right? Like not lose your ass.
Better. I think the whole thing, we see a lot of people that teach, and it's like, they're not teaching you actually the science and the logistics of dealing with sellers and people in these situations and maximizing your profits.
Every deal that I see come across from a wholesaler nowadays is 75, 80%, not even minus repairs. There's not even repairs in the calculation. They're trying to say, hey, that spread is enough. And I'm like, no, that's not a deal. And the problem with it not being a deal isn't you're not offending me. You're letting that seller down because that seller signed with you, right? Now you didn't know what a deal was, right? And because of that, you're going to have this contract fall out. And we're seeing a lot more of it in different ways, right? We're starting to see people getting sold on marketing, right? If I hear another thing about a goddamn gator, I'm gonna blow my brains out because
let's talk about this.
Like, and everybody I talk to that comes to me afterwards, right? They're 50,000 in the hole, and they got a property that they can't do anything with because it was supposed to be very low cost of entry or secured investment, all this bullshit that they're just getting sold on marketing, and they don't know what they're actually buying or how to buy. So we're just trying to help people. Honestly, that was the big rundown.
That was a very long rant.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, man, I think it's much needed. Hey,
well, he just came from like a school outing with his kids. Yeah. So really, I don't know. Yeah,
I was playing dad before this. So,
are you guys actually brothers, like blood brothers?
Yeah. Yep.
You are, okay.
Yeah, there's 5 of us, 4 of us.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, anyway. We're brothers. We're actually going to be on Dr. Phil tonight at 7 p.m. Central.
Let him
get out. What? That's crazy.
Yeah, tell us more about that. I know you.
Oh.
It was a part of. It's a part of your Facebook page right now. So let us.
No,
What are you doing there?
just keep on
going.
taking charge. No, it's gonna be a good time. We filmed it. It's right in Fort Worth. He just has a whole new media company that he's branding out. He's got Steve Harvey now, so he's doing big things. He's doing a special on real estate. We went viral for kicking a squatter out.
Did you guys see that video?
I've heard about it.
Yeah, I saw it. I just checked when I was checking your YouTube. So,
Yeah.
but for those who haven't watched it, can you tell not to reveal anything? So you guys make sure watch Dr. Phil episode. But
No.
Tell us.
So we have again when you're dealing with 30 deals, you're going to run into issues with squatters, right? Right now, I'm dealing with 3 of them. 3 of our deals have squatters, so we have a lot of experience with it. We went viral from kicking one of them out, and they reached out, and we were on there and as just one of the guests, and it's coming out tonight, so I'm excited for it.
That's awesome.
okay.
That's awesome.
And yeah, let's talk about wholesalers a little bit. So, and about deals that you see. What do you think why it's happening? And you actually shared that there are more bad deals you see recently. Like, why do you think there are more of those?
The source of that.
And of
What's
course, we're going to ask you how people can avoid that, because obviously they'll tell you if we need to get a better price, there should be some negotiation tactics, right? So we don't just get a contract, but we get a really good deal. So, and I guess this will be the whole episode will be all about. But so yeah, 2 questions. Why do you think it happens, and how people can improve?
I think the primary reason that I call bullshit on a lot of wholesalers is because personally, I'm on the acquisition side. And when I sit in a living room with a seller and I'm saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, look, I'm going to pay this and I'm going to close by this date. That's a contract I have, yes, on paper, but it's my word, and I'm guaranteeing them this way they can sign something and then go on with their life and start making the next plans that they need to make. That's my primary problem with wholesalers that don't close transactions, because they're not respecting the seller's life and their situation. And so my whole thing is, and I say this to sellers, I might not be your highest offer. I'm your best offer because I'm always going to close. So we see a lot of things come through and they're just priced absurd, as if no one's ever closed on a transaction before. So they don't account for closing costs or holding costs, or, as Nick said, repairs, right? So it blows my mind that people say, oh, these are deals, or they talk about spread the way, literally just simple math. $100,000 purchase price, $200,000 ARV, there's $100,000 spread in there. No, that's not how you market deals. I don't know what school you went to, but that's not, the house needs 150 in repairs, you're going to lose 50 grand, right?
We always end up saying the math doesn't math. It's that simple. Again, I sit there and I just analyze deals, right, all day long, just for fun. And it's insulting. It really is insulting. Just the other day, I had Pam Cleary, one of our members in the community. She sent over a sub-2 deal. And she's like, Nick, let's run this. I want to comp it. Does this work as a deal? It was 25 grand to just pay off the rears, and it's the entry fee, right? 25 plus closing costs, right? I'm like, Pam, you're going to be all into this property for 40 to 50 grand, okay? It was an 8% loan. It didn't cash flow. I was like, tell me where this makes sense. I was so pissed off about the deal. Live, I called the wholesaler. I was like, I want to know where this makes sense. I was like, I'm looking at all the numbers. Tell me where this makes sense. I called him. He didn't answer. He called me back later on, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, I don't have that available anymore. I had to drop it. No shit, you had to drop it because it didn't make sense. You should never have even presented that offer, right? Because you know you're not going to be able to get a close. Why didn't? And again, I don't know the complete deals, right? But like maybe if they were smart enough, they would have went with the short sale or something, right? Like some other way to help that lead, help that person, that seller, right? Like, or whatever inbound you want to call them, right? Opportunity lead, whatever word you're using for your business. But
well, people are
it's
only,
a human.
Well, people are only looking out for themselves, and I think that selfishness is a very dangerous game, especially in a market that we're currently in, where interest rates are going up consistently. They've tripled in the last 18 months. And so no one's prepared for it. No one knows. No one's talking about, hell, half of them haven't been around since, 2004, 5, 6. So, it's just a lot of outside factors that affect transactions that no one's talking about, dealing with, or addressing to help people help sellers. I think they're all just looking for their quick payday. I think if you don't focus on helping people, no one wins. Just go become a realtor and just go do that shit then.
Dude, got it. So how long you guys been doing this in general? Like when did you start?
This is my 20th year.
20th year. Okay. Yeah. So that's a rare perspective that you've got. Like, when would you say? Because you guys seem to be like, it sounds like to me like it hasn't been always this way with this many trash deals and all that. When would you say this type of shit started?
So the problem is the wave of it, right? The education wave of it. All information has gotten easier and easier and easier, which I am 100% for. Okay, but people spread. And again, you want to use the best term in the country right now. People spread misinformation, and that is including like how to do investing wrong.
You used to have to, I mean, in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you used to have to actually get out of your house, put bandit signs up, get a few phone calls, get yelled at. You'd find some random meet up on Craigslist, and you'd go to the breakfast meet, whatever it was, right? You had to go out to events to network and meet people. The next thing is, as technology got better, like Nick said, it's not a bad thing. It is a bad thing, but it grew to be this massive school of dipshits that teach everyone how to do this for no money. And when I came up, like what you're saying, you either have time, money, or experience, right? And so you got to contribute some way, and people, I think, are trying to contribute in no way and get paid. So Rona hurt the real estate market in the sense that so many people got into real estate. I think it was like some egregious, like 50 or 60% of the realtors got their license post 2019.
So how do you spot a fake freaking guru? Like, what's your guys' advice as some of the most experienced people in the game? So for our audience, right? So we've got thousands and thousands of people that are registered on SpeedToLead. We got a couple hundred people buying leads every day. And so we're like, what we want people to do, we actually want people to be more like to have formal coaching.
Yeah.
We don't want newbies. We do not want newbies buying leads, paying, so fixed price mode leads, they're the best leads that we got, and they're instant, and you can customize your perfect lead and all that stuff. But it's $300. It's $400. I don't want a newbie buying land lead unless they've got some formal coaching. But also, I'm like, go get coached. He's like, all right, cool. He's gonna go out there, and you know what's gonna happen. Like, so how can these people spot BS better, spot, and there's some coaches that look very successful. So that's like, but you don't know where the cash came from. But like, how do you even navigate that when you're a newbie in the game?
It's real. Honestly, it's just from word of mouth, right? Like that's the only thing I can think of, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to get sold on their own marketing, right? Like there are people that are paying 15 grand to go out in the desert and get yelled at just so they feel better and like more manly. But that's not really needed, right? You can go to the fucking gym for yourself. So finding like the right ones.
Or listen, that kind of that's frame of mind of like listening to everyone, and then you just dissect and you kind of figure out what you're comfortable with, who you're comfortable with, what is your gut telling you, has that person actually ever closed on a property, right? There's a difference. Like we wholesale houses, right? So I joke around with people and they're like, oh, are you a realtor? And I'm like, don't insult me like that. Similarly, if you say, oh, you're a wholesaler, I'm like, don't insult me like that. And that's because if you pigeonhole someone to a wholesaler or a realtor, right, they kind of have their own little, I don't know, like bad terminology or like negative impression. They leave a negative impression on you. So for me, whenever I'm listening to someone speak, I always try to listen more than I speak, and then try to figure out if they've actually done what they are teaching, right?
I think the problem with going the wholesale only route is it only leads, if you want to be a long-term successful and like actually retire, it has to lead to some form of guru, right? Like you have to start coaching, right? Because otherwise, how are you going to get recurring? Unless you're going to build and scale this giant monstrosity business. So we tell everybody you're an investor first. Everything, right? And that's why it goes down to having the hard conversations with the seller, buying properly. This way you can do anything with the property, no matter what the market is. If the market's going up or down, there's a reason, people were still buying and selling in 2008, after the fucking crisis. Like time didn't stop. Investing didn't stop. It just changed. Days on market expanded, right? The properties lasted for, what'd you say, a year?
A year.
So you were still doing them. You still turning and burning them. But again,
we used to go have margaritas whenever they hit 365 days on the market. Be like, oh, let's go celebrate with the margarita. Our house had an anniversary.
I mean, we have literally blood in the water, right? That's my favorite saying in the last 2 years. But we have blood in the water because we've been in a changing market, and we've only been in a changing market for a little bit of time compared to the massive upswing we've been running. And we're still at sub 90 days on market. We're still in a general decent market, right? We're not in a full-on buyer's market yet. We're still in a seller's market, right? And people they're dropping out like flies. Why? Because they weren't buying right. They weren't investing right. They didn't understand, right? They were only trying to make a quick five, right? They weren't educated properly. And it hurts.
Sorry, so you asked
how do you spot them?
How do you spot a good
If they're spending more money on a goddamn haircut, and if they're taking photos with cars but not their actual, family, it's pretty easy to spot, right? Like if all they're doing is Rolex posts and not actually, hey, I spoke to his seller today, it's pretty easy to spot. But again,
hey, careful, TJ's
people
he's on
like the marketing, right? People like all that shit. So again, right, Josh, they drink the Kool-Aid. It sucks, and I wish they were able to see through it, but there's no way unless we're throwing darts. That's why we started calling everybody dodos.
He's mentioning traits of coaches, and I know exactly what he's talking about. We're not gonna mention anybody. So okay, got it. So I think what I want to give people what they came for, and so you guys said that you guys have some of the more aggressive tactics in getting deals done. And I think everybody's wondering, like, what kind of stuff does that even mean, right? Wholesaling itself is kind of I would say aggressive in some ways, or at least a lot of sellers who want retail would say that, right? Anyone that wants retail would probably say that wholesalers are out there chasing or trying to steal equity and all of that crazy stuff. But what do you guys mean when you're talking about aggressive tactics? And I think we're all we're all trying to get like more of the fresh perspective in the industry.
You want a perfect example?
Yeah, I want them all.
I ran a test campaign, right, just recently with a PPL company. I was just running a marketing spend with them. We got 6 leads in. Okay, the company before we started with them, I was getting a bunch of info, and the number I was told was 1 out of 8. For 1 out of 8 leads that you get, you're going to get a deal. That's like the average. Those 6 leads that we came in, I can actually pull up the text, but I think five of them are going to be deals.
Dude, damn.
So how? And it's just persistent follow-up, being real with people, being hard conversations.
Yeah, but it's I've coached the team. Yes, I have a lot of history with a lot of deals and stuff, but it comes down to, again, arming my people with the right information, the right tools. They take the right hammer instead of a sledgehammer, and they don't have to break people. We can utilize different things to help people. One of those leads was where I'm really good at seller financing and notes and stuff. So one of those leads, we were able to, the seller didn't want a discounted price, so he wanted retail. So we were able to get him retail by financing it for him, right? So the conversation that I'm having with my team that needs to be had with the sellers is, look, the reason that you're going with me is because I'm guaranteeing you this today. Now, I can offer you this, but I'm not guaranteeing that. And I think the difference between us and wholesalers is that they're going into that deal basically giving them what they want up front, not having the hard conversation. It was really the discount conversation. They lock it up and then they go market it. They find their best offer and then they renegotiate and they price drop. So to me, that's a bait and switch game that I was never really a fan of. I think it's
Open Door does this shit.
Absolutely. You read an open door contract and they have the right to back out all the way up until closing.
Yeah. That contract was made by probably some of the best lawyers in the country. So
yeah.
But I mean, that's one of our funnest things to do. If they get a contract from another wholesaler or another company, and it's not in Texas, right? It's not a TREC. It's not a standardized contract. We're gonna blow that out of the water.
We pick it apart, and I challenge the sellers. Like, look, I don't have to buy your house. I want to buy your house. I want to buy every house I look at. I'm not going to.
Let me ask you this. What's a good way to get the seller to show you the other contract that he's got? I imagine some people would be kind of scared to ask that.
Absolutely not. Direct. I asked, and 5 out of 10 sellers will show us. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, here it is." They just email it to us, and I'll know who the buyer was, or I'll know of the buyer, or I'll know the title company, and then we just review it. And I'm not like reviewing it in a facetious way, saying, "Oh, let me screw this guy out of the deal." I'm saying to the seller, "Look, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is what they're on page 1. This is what their cash price is. They have Andorra signs up there with some bullshit like that. The title company, I don't really like that title company. They're known for doing some shady shit. Oh, and they also only have $100 earnest money. That means that if they back out, you're only getting $100 if they cancel the contract. then you'll notice right under that, you go through and you say, oh, here's an option period, but they said that they were buying it, but there's no option. So, and then I just layer mine next to it and I say, okay, go through it with me. Here's my number. Here's, and I point out all the things that one would have as weasel clauses.
One wholesaler had a penny as the option fee, and they mailed a check for a penny to title. So but again, it's like weasel clauses, just pointing out weasel clauses.
And it's just honesty. If you're just brutally honest with them, these people don't want to be screwed. They're only going to sell this house once, unless they're a scammer, and then they could sell it multiple times. But let's not get into that. They literally are only going to sell this asset once. Again, I'm being completely upfront. I'm not going to be your highest. If you want the most, call your friend that's a realtor, hang up the phone with me, and be done. Stop searching online for how do I sell my house fast, right? Yeah, so it's more of a brutal honesty thing that I have with them in a nice way.
Okay. Now you guys have like 30 deals on the board at any given time. What do you think some of the KPIs that? And I don't want to, everyone's got their own secret sauce KPIs and stuff like that. But what do you think most people miss when it comes to KPIs? Like, what stuff do you see people tracking where they should be like tracking other shit, or maybe you have some unexpected, things that you came up with that, here we're tracking this KPI and it's been really driving the business forward, and you're like, nobody's thinking about that KPI. Maybe like yesterday on Brent Daniel's podcast, I heard his KPI. They've got a KPI, how many calls they have when a lead comes in, and it's and the time between the lead came in and the call is more than 1 minute. So if that shit starts going up, they ring alarm and like get the team freaking alerted, like what's going on here? Why are we beyond our threshold of more than 1 minute response times and stuff like that? What would you have to say about the KPIs, man?
I say my acquisitions team, they have like a less than 5 minute rule. So if I look at my phone and one of them hasn't claimed the lead, I'll call it myself. So Speed, it's the name of your company, but SpeedToLead is a thing. I want to be in front of them.
You have to give me $1 every time you say that word.
I don't know, man. I've been saying it for a long time. But I want to be in front of them. I want to be talking to them. And it used to be, again, I kind of started back when there were, very few cell phones and we had desk phones. Facebook wasn't a thing. Internet Google leads weren't a thing. We had newspaper leads. The phone rang in the office, right? Like this is old school stuff. So SpeedToLead counts. But then the next thing is how diligent you are with following up. Follow-ups are so important. And I am really kicking myself, like the old version of myself that never followed up. I can't tell you where I'd be if I would have had follow-ups. As good as we have it now, there's a deal on our board that we contracted with the seller over a year ago. There was a problem with the seller and heirs. Our team followed up, so a year later, and we're making 60 grand on that deal. And we only have it because of the follow-up game. So it's just one of those things where you have to arm yourself, right? So knowing whether it's seller financing, sub 2, novation, wholesale, retail, fix and flip, buy and hold, you have to know all of it. I don't care if you don't do it. You need to be educated to at least speak on it so that when you're talking to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're saying, oh, that's why Nick's able to offer you that. Because he's probably, whether or not you're saying this to the seller is a different story, because he's probably doing X, Y, and Z with that, right? So, and if other people can offer other things and you can't, then I don't know, I feel like you're You're in this market. If you're not being if you're not well armed in this market, you're going to lose.
I missed something.
I almost agreed.
You
What do you
also
guys
have,
think?
you also
Go ahead.
it comes down to consistency, right? Like there's not one best thing, right? You can do anything, but as long as you're consistent about it. You want a golden nugget, right? Like get a waterproof Post-it notepad and sign on there, right? Call me about your neighbor and leave your phone number. And then go to a house that you're door knocking, right? A WTF house, right? Lawn, and post that on every house in the neighborhood.
Mm.
And I promise you, your phone will ring off the hook. Why? Because neighbors
I
are
don't say
nosy
every
as shit.
house in the neighborhood.
No,
I say the 6
shotgun
houses
it.
around you, right? So if you see one house, you go to the 2 next door, the 3 across, and you call me about your neighbor. I guarantee by the time you get back in your car, you're going to have the phone will ring, and they're going to be like, why the hell are you calling me? Or which neighbor are you calling? Because everyone's a nosy neighbor.
Mhm. But
Dude,
that's
awesome.
an easy way to get your phone ringing. But
Ivan,
again, it comes down to
we need to,
consistency.
Ivan, we need a feature like that. So please meet Ivan, is my co-founder. Ivan, we need a feature like that on Speed to Lead, that somebody pushes a button and there's a Tesla robot that's going out to the neighbors' houses and posts that Post-it note. What is a drone? The drone. I like that too. There's a little drone that comes over and like, oh man, that would be something.
Old school smoke signals with a plane.
Yeah. So what was it? Okay, what was it like? All right, the most curious thing what was it like to get 33 million views on a freaking video? What happened after that? Like, that's crazy.
I think
Yeah, Sarah had to change her phone number. That
I will
crazy
say this:
broad was using.
if you are gonna put phone numbers out there, try not to make them your direct cell phone number. So that sign that's in the yard in that video that the lady's holding and puts on display is Sarah's direct cell phone number, and she's gotten thousands of phone calls,
just prank calls, teenagers, right? Like, I want to buy your house, right? And then just laughs and hangs up.
Yeah.
So
it was good. I think honestly, it's weird because that situation was fun and funny. I hate to say that, but it was fun and funny. It's happened to us way worse in, other squatter situations of taking me 2 years, $250,000 to get the person out. Right. So that was fun. But it's a shitty situation and it's a huge problem right now. It's hitting everyone at every level of real estate, from corporate investors to mom and pops. Every state has a squatter problem. The biggest thing about being in Texas is, I could kind of muscle my way in like we did in that video, but there are people in New York that are getting arrested for trying to get into their own house, right? And that sort of shit shouldn't happen. I think property rights are something that should be indisputable. But
Well, did you get any hate mail? You get any hate mail for it? Like,
no, we got a lot of support because of it, right? Like, if you go to comments, every one in 30 is.
You can see where the people from California are.
Yeah. But majority of them are tired, right? Majority of them are tired of people being taken advantage of, right? It's a problem. They are criminals, but they're not getting charged with criminal acts, right? I can't go and just sit in the backseat of your truck for a month.
Well, I did an interview today with the New York Post, and the guy asked me, he's like, or I said to him something along the lines of like, this whole thing of like, oh, these are empty houses and everybody needs a home, right? That sort of shit isn't what what we're facing. We're facing like criminals that are habitually squatting. You know, that one lady through Airbnb who's overstayed for like 18 months or whatever, right? That sort of shit.
It was like a luxury one too. Like it was like
Yeah.
ultra luxury.
Yo, it was that guy's like detached garage that he converted. He had to watch her like every weekend, just sitting there living in his shit, and he can't do anything. If he did anything, if he tried to stop her from going into his property, he was going to get arrested, right? That's absurd.
The question really came down to, if you have a car, all right, you use the car to go to work, or you work from home and you have a car in your garage. I'm gonna go take your car, Nick, and I'm gonna use it. Well, when do I get it back? Never. Well, what if I need to go to the store? Right? And it's like, it's the same thing.
You weren't using it though.
But you weren't using it.
You weren't using it.
It was in the
Fuck you.
garage.
It's mine.
Yeah. Right. So that a lot of people that don't, we have a lot of people in this country that are not homeowners, which is fine. But they own a car. So you challenge them to take their car or their credit card, and they get a little squirmy. So I started switching it around on people, saying like, okay, well, give me, that, and I'll just take it from you. And they don't like that. So we didn't get that much hate mail. Believe it or not, it was the prefaces for us of seeing a massive problem that a lot of people are seeing in this country. And there's a lot of reports of it now. There's a lot of coverage hitting it now. So it blew up on us early on, but like now it seems like the wave of stories is taking hold and going.
Nice. Well, that's you guys made the world a better place by posting that up. My big question is, okay, so I know this. I know you guys have a strong opinion on the creative side of stuff. Now, I don't know if you have to say the creative, if you have to give $1 to anybody when you say the word creative, but I need your opinion on this. I need your freaking opinion on what's wrong with the creative industry. Not what's wrong with it, because hey, creative deals happen and should happen, and
not every deal is a creative deal. That's the problem. So if you're walking around, what's it saying? If you're walking around with a hammer only, right? Everything's a nail or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But the problem is, you have to understand everything, right? So it went from creative to, you don't know how to find leads. You don't need to. You can use somebody else's leads. Oh, this guy can't afford the EMD. That's how you can get into that. If a guy can't afford the EMD, I don't want him a part of the fucking deal, right? Like, there's got to be some barrier to entry. And I'm sorry, there has to be. Otherwise, sellers are going to get hurt.
I think I don't have a problem with creative deals.
We love
honestly, it's one of the main ways I make money. But I do them, and I do them a very specific way. I'm very particular about them. I'm very particular about the paperwork. I hate the fact that people teach it, because you're giving guns
to retards.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Can you explain that?
Way I can think of.
Explain that for the newbies. What do you mean by that?
Creative is a very.
So it's treated as if it's easier.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
It's way harder, and it should be more respected than every other deal out there, because you're using a seller's. If we're talking about sub-2s and that sort of thing, seller financing, you're using a seller's property, credit, everything, right? And so, to me, your ethics, morals, and financial aptitude needs to be higher than the seller's, so that you can respect them and always perform for that transaction. It shouldn't be, oh, well, this person's got a 3%, or Nick said 8% for Pam's deal the other day. And they're behind. All I have to do is get someone to catch up the payments, and then I have this loan, and I don't care what happens to it after that. So it should be way harder on people to do creative deals. Because if you don't even know how to do a wholesale deal, like contract something and sell it so buy something for a little, sell it for a little bit more and make money. If you don't know how to do that, stay the fuck away from creative financing.
Yeah. But the reason you can't do that is because you can't afford the EMD.
That's, I think.
So I do Josh, I love your comment, by the way.
I do like creative financing. I pick on it especially because people come to our people come or call us on a daily basis, and I want to hang up on them and say, like, why are you talking to me about this? Because they're pitching me something that they don't actually fully understand. So I don't know if I even answered your question.
Okay. No,
it's harder because it's not standardized yet. Many people don't know how to execute. There are more nuances a lot in creative financing than cash.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah. It is harder, and it's significantly again, you should have a significant more financial interest in the deal. Just because it costs you nil less to get into it doesn't mean your responsibility is less. In fact, your responsibility is higher because someone else is banking on you for doing the thing that you're promising to do.
Have you ever seen it break down? Like, have you ever seen a seller get screwed over?
Like, what was the
I've seen like triple wraps, and the underlying wrap is a hard money loan that balloons every 12 months. Dude, oh my God. Like, solving some of these problems have been fun. So people know that they can call me to solve a lot of these problems. But yeah, again, that's somebody that was a wholesaler, or really was an investor that bought a house with hard money, got this other kid to buy it from him on long-term financing. So hard money, long-term financing. That person went and wrapped it to someone else. And
was it an IRA?
No,
that's not this one.
Oh, okay.
No.
So it was like legitimately like hard money, like Bob's hard money. And the dude financed it from this entity, and then he sold it on a wrap, 30-year financing with a little bit of an interest rate markup. No, it was a lesser interest rate because the hard money was like at 11%, and he gave the kid, I call him a kid because he's younger, he gave him like 9%, and then he gave the end buyer like a 10% rate or something like that, right? So he's like, oh, I got this owner finance note.
Gonna cash flow.
And he's gonna cash flow, and he was all happy, and then it ballooned. And the guy, when it ballooned, what happens when a note balloons? Don't you have to refinance? How do you refinance something you don't own? Because you sold it. And then how do you got to get it back? All right, so you call the person that you sold it to get it back, just so you can do the refinance and give it back to him. But then he has to call the end buyer because he wrapped it.
There's a course for that. Just go buy it. You need that one course for that one thing. And that's the fucking problem.
Shit. All right, I got an idea. You guys do a video, and I think it will also go viral, about how you are kicking out a newbie student of creative that's asking for free ass leads that you couldn't convert, and you're kicking them the fuck out. All right, I'm just kidding.
I've had to. I'm not kidding. On the inside.
Do you know how many of students that not mine, but of others that have been shocked when they hear that FHAs are illegal to wrap? Right, like illegal, criminal, and they don't.
Criminal even. Criminal or like criminal, not even. That's crazy.
So they can. They can. Whether or not the lovely government comes after you criminally is a different story. But they are illegal. They're not just frowned upon; they're illegal. So now that doesn't mean that the sub 2 itself is illegal. The wrapping of it is right. So, and people say like that chick from She went around and she's like, if you're not buying wraps, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, buying wraps? What are we, a fucking sandwich shop? Like, no, this is the wrap is the method to the thing. It's not what you're selling. You don't sell wrap. Like, what the? So again, it's misinformation.
Misinformation.
It's Russia.
Misinformation. But
Yeah. So what can folks expect when they jump into your community? When they jump into REI, I like to say REI as fuck, and there goes the YouTube rating, the mature content rating. But what can people expect?
I think you're gonna get kicked in the nuts. But I'm also gonna be there to coach you through giving you actually information that'll get you the deal at. I mean, we're offering, we start at 60% minus repairs when we're sitting in front of a seller. And people have come to us and they're like, there's no way you could have gotten and I'm like, bro, I had the contract and then you swooped in and offered like 40 grand more than us. And I was like, I know that person. Go take their offer and see if they perform. And so they're like, why do you start there? Because because I'm solving problems, not because I want to take advantage, but because I can solve problems, and the cost for me helping them to do that and guarantee that sale was this number. Now I could wiggle a little bit, but it was that number for me. If it was that number for you and you paid 40 grand more, I'm okay with that. But you better perform. If you don't perform, there are still people that are like, oh yeah, I signed with this other person and 6 months goes by and they still haven't closed. Why didn't you just buy better up front, be more educated, help the seller, right? And now they're 6 payments behind, or 6 more payments behind, or 6 more months outside their goal.
Instead, they're filing memos on them.
That's another problem that we have. I think that there is a plethora of people that file illegitimate memos on contracts that should never be filed. And if it's funny, we say that in Texas, but I don't know what they do in the rest of the country. I don't know if they could do that, but in Texas, people file their contracts, which is fine, but they file their contracts without the intent of closing, and it's fraud.
Wow, interesting. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. How do you figure out and ensure these home sellers that your solution is better? Because I think that newbie also can see your video and then promise that I've solved a problem. But how you ensure that the home seller that you really do this? Do you have some? Do you show them some proofs or other stuff to? Yeah.
No, I sit in front of them. We don't. First off, we don't virtual buy anything almost ever.
Everything's belly to belly.
We go belly button to belly button. I want to see their reactions, their body language. I want to witness the house in its actual situation. I don't want to just look at the best 5 or 6 photos of it. And it's really hard for people to lie to you when you're face to face. Their body language and the science of human interaction is something that you need to be aware of. If you're going to be in the acquisition side of this, I really do believe in kind of the science of conversations with people and reading them, and then you know, not just waiting for your turn to speak. I think that is something I'll hear people cold calling, and I'm like, oh God, they're literally just waiting for their turn to speak so that they could check the next box and see if they can, you know, make an offer and go from there. So I'm literally coaching my people to help. If we focus on the problem, if we're not educated and we don't know how to help them. We're going to go get the answer, which is rare that we don't know. So we're going to go get the answer, and then we're going to come back to them. It's not about the offer. I hear all the time, actually, there's a text message the other day on one of our rental houses. I got a random green, ugly barf text message from somebody, and you could tell he was just a wholesaler kind of trying to make us an offer on one of our rentals. And it took 3 texts, and he said, well, how much do you think you'd sell me the house for? Something to that effect. And I was like, bro, you started texting me out of nowhere, and like, so aren't you supposed to make me an offer? And then he goes into this long paragraph dissertation about how his boss would call me, and I was like, yeah, don't call me. I won't answer the phone. So how do I guarantee the seller? There is no guarantee. And a lot of it comes down to just confidence, and then answering their questions appropriately, not lying to them,
Being the professional. And then, a lot of this, especially now, you're not going to believe this, but it happens. A lot of these sellers aren't the real seller, and they're trying to sell something that they don't have 100% equity stake in to sell. So you find, if you don't dig with the sellers, if you don't peel back those layers of the onion, you're not going to get to the root and figure out, oh yeah, Nick is the only one that's allowed to sell our mom's house, right? Like, and if there's 5 of us and she's gone, why don't the other 4 of us have a say? Well, and then we start digging into that and clearing titles. So she loved me the most.
Yeah. If you are saying you are helping, yeah, it's very important. What is the leverage to help to home sellers? Only with buying a house, but it's not only about this buy their house, yeah.
There's a lot more
of other problems. So where is this barrier, and what do you want to help them, and what you say it's not my sphere of activity?
This is actually a very valid question. This sets me apart from a lot of other people. And it just happened on 2 transactions. My acquisitions team and I were talking, and so 2 transactions. One, we've been working on for almost a year. I spent $5,000 in legal fees to help the seller, but I have no guarantee that I'm going to, I have no guarantee that I'm going to get that money back. So I spent money trusting the seller to help her. Fast forward, we have a transaction right now where the seller needs to pay for a $6,000 survey. And I'm looking at those and I'm like, oh man, do I want to spend $6,000 to help this guy get the survey to potentially sell this deal, right? So those are 2 situations where I'm making calculated risks based on my relationship with the seller. But then there's a lot of other stuff I've done over the last 20 years. I've paid people's deposits on their apartments. I've rented box trucks. I've had my guys go and move them. We did an estate sale for some people. A lot of it comes down to, again, once they're opening and talking to you and they're saying, oh, I don't have the deposit to go put down on the apartment that I need to move into. Okay, I go and I get a cashier's check and put the deposit down on that thing. And then I do temporary lease back to help them. And then I send my guys with the moving truck to move them, right? If you're just solely negotiating price, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Very cool.
So
And
how can
you mentioned? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Yuri. No, go ahead, Yuri.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because you previously mentioned that a lot of it is in follow-ups. So, and again, I don't want you to reveal any secrets, but let's imagine that, and I'm a sales guy, so I want to ask the process. So you get a lead, you reach out, you schedule an appointment, most likely, you go there, you sit with them, you probably give them some plan action. They maybe want to hear some other deals, offers, whatsoever. So how does typical follow-up looks like? Or like, and when you need a follow-up, and is it common for you guys just, we just meet first time, everything goes well, we just do it? Or
I mean,
because we heard you guys emphasize follow-up
half the time we contracted on the spot. At
Okay.
least half the time where my team is that good, they contracted on the spot. And I kind of have them beating one another up, where if they don't come back with the contract, they're not allowed to come back. If they don't come back with the contract, then I want to know why. Well, we couldn't get, and they know not to say we couldn't get to their price, because if they do get to if it's that we didn't get to their price, I'm going to kick them in the nuts, because that's really not the problem. What's the problem? If they don't come back to me and tell me what the person's problem is, they didn't do their job. So, so the follow-up process, if you don't come back with the contract, is really simple. It's get them to tell you no. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times I've been told no, but I would much rather at least get a no. So don't ghost me. And I tell sellers this. Look, if you're not going to go with me, just tell me. I just don't want to be a stalker. I don't want to call you 500 times. I'm not the IRS. I'm not a bill collector, right? Like you called me in the first place. You reached out to me. You went to our website. You put your information in. You had me call you for help, right?
If it's an inbound lead, yeah, you don't stop reaching out to that person until they physically tell you no. But then even then, just switch it up a little and
we send them letters.
Change the pattern, because they have a reason they reached out, right? They have some pain point. Somebody just died. Taxes are really long behind and overdue. Somebody just got divorced, right? There's always a problem.
Oh, what do you mean? Houses don't sell the second you put them on the market anymore?
No, fuck no, especially not in today's market.
Tell me about Dispo. Like, what's the top? Actually, jumping to houses being on the market. What do you guys see people make mistakes in Dispo? And like, what's your? I usually like to ask like your top thing that people want to know you for, like something that you do better or that you think that you do really well and that you're willing to share with people. And then the top thing that you think people are doing that's dumb when it comes to Dispo. When it comes to Dispo, just like straight wholesale Dispo.
So if you buy right, you can sell anything. So you make, and I don't know who created the saying, but you make money when you buy a house. You don't make money when you sell a house.
Dave Ramsey, probably. Just kidding.
Probably. But yes, I mean, so if I'm buying right, I already know how I'm going to sell it. And I have 5 exit strategies. When we contract something, I'm like, I need to be able to do one of 5 things with it. And then
you have the ability to, right?
Yeah, like, at least, yeah. And then from there, I know which Dispo route we're going to go with it. On the Dispo side, because people send us their deals everyone gets everyone's deals these days, and so you used to have to call people to do this business, not just email stuff out. So on the Dispo side, it's always bullshit numbers. Honestly, it's just bullshit numbers that I just don't understand how A plus B equals C, and there's not, a further calculation into
more bullshit on the ARV or more bullshit on the repairs estimate?
Dude, I think I don't know how many people send out deals without repair numbers. I feel like the new thing is
They're not
ARV price spread. It's not ARV.
Nowadays, coaches tell you not to put repairs. That's what the coaches do.
I'm not a contractor. That's not my job. I'm not a contractor. But the problem goes back to is that they didn't know how to buy. There's a set number that needs to be purchased, right? This way somebody can make a profit on it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your ass and somebody else is going to lose their ass, right? Like that's what makes a deal a deal. And again, wholesalers don't understand these things. They don't understand why the numbers make sense. I had one sent to me yesterday. I comped it out. It was a $90,000 purchase for a 2-1. I sent it back to the guy. I took a screenshot of my calculator. I did this all live, and I sent it to the guy, and my offer was $4,700, something like that.
What's it? Because we probably could have paid 90 for it.
Well, no, trust me. He
Creatively.
came back. He
I
came
could have
back
given
and
him
he's
his
like,
90 if we would have creative financed it.
comes back and he's like, he starts yelling about the rehab number. And I was like, yo, you even cut the rehab in half. It's still $20,000, right? Like my offer is not being affected because of the rehab budget.
I think you asked the question, which was where do I see the biggest bullshit or whatever mistakes on Dispo? People, you cannot tell me that a house needs paint and carpet and then provide me photos where there's holes in the wall, or I could clearly see that the shingles need to be replaced, or, and then the other thing that people don't do is they don't do like comp to like comp. So the houses size-wise may be similar, but then if the retail house sold for an egregious number, and then all of a sudden you're telling me my house can sell for that number, but then not giving me the appropriate repair amount to get to that number. And then I call you and I'm like, hey, what did you have in repairs? And they're like, oh, 20 grand paint and carpet. And you're like, on a $500,000 house, 20 grand, like shit, 20 grand doesn't even fucking get you countertops sometimes, depending upon what you're putting in, right? So a lot of it just comes down to people don't do accurate math. So I think I used to use $20 a square foot for reno. But yeah, it used to be $20 a square foot, roughly. Now my guys are doing, for $1,000 to $2,000, it's like start at $50 a square foot. And then maybe, for $2,000 to $3,000, go to like, 45, and then maybe for 3,000 plus go to $40 a square foot. And you do the math on that, and it's like, yo, that's 120,000. What are you, crazy, Tony? Have you ever done a fucking renovation? Like, if you the cost to just buy material these days is like 5x what it was.
99% of them, they've
3 or
never
4
done
years
it. 99% of them have never done it. Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't even think they've ever been to a job site.
And again, I love wholesaling. I love creative financing.
Absolutely.
I love all of these things.
But do it right.
But I'm knocking the people that try to do these things by not understanding the entire game, the entire picture, right?
Now, let me ask you this. So I'm a big subscriber of like the who, not how mindset, right?
Mhm.
If I was a newbie listening to this to this podcast, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Yeah, they're right. I don't know a freaking thing about repairs. I've never been to a job site. But you know what? I have two ways. I could learn all that shit, or I could find the who, not how. And like, so what would be an option? Right. Obviously, one is like learn more about the thing, but the other one, like, who do you partner with, or whose perspective do you get if you're wholesaling? You want your cash buyer to look at your listing and be like, you know what? I respect that. They actually, okay, this sounds like somebody that understands, right? Who should wholesalers go to in those cases? To come up with those numbers correctly, maybe even when they're buying it, right? Because that's when you're underwriting is when you should be fucking know all this stuff.
A lot of times, your sellers will tell you, right? I mean, a lot of times your sellers will be like, yeah, I just got a quote for the foundation, and Ramjack said it was $35,000. So they'll tell me that, and I'll be like, oh, that's fucking absurd. I can easily get the foundation done for 5 to 10 grand. But the point then goes to, okay, so if the seller told me 35 grand and you are dumb enough to go contract it and then tell some investor it's only 20 grand and they are clearly told you it's 35 and just foundation, the worst thing you could probably do is call a contractor and ask them for advice. They'll probably shoot you. At least we used to do it. But it's kind of like rude now because they know you're not going to use them. You're just wasting their time. how about you just hop on like average websites, like, and look at the cost of goods on Home Depot. Look at the cost for a 5-gallon jug of paint, and then do some math of how many gallons you need to paint a house, and then just be like, holy shit, the paint itself is so fucking expensive these days that it's like $4,000 just in paint and kills and primer, right? Like, so I think you can ask around, or do some simple math of, hey, the price per square foot for the house itself is $100. If it's comp, right, you just price per square foot, you're comping it price per square foot. We'll do some math for the renovation price per square foot. I threw some numbers out there. You may agree or disagree. I don't know where you are or what you do, but there's some industry standards out there, whether it's $30, $40, $50 a square foot,
I would say, to answer Lily's question, right, just because it's been a minute, right, $40 per square foot for a full renovation, that would be maybe a mid-range, right?
Yeah.
That number's gone up from what it was. I would say in 2019, that was definitely the number, but
yeah, and I think, like Oscar just said, 70% minus repairs. Don't start your offer at 75 because you give yourself no room to go anywhere, right? So start at 70, start at 65. If it's not close to the metropolitan area, start at 50, right?
I don't know if wholesalers don't know this or not, but I'm going to pin it up there for you, Oscar, because he's 100% right? Like, that's your max allowable offer, too. People don't notice that. People think that, I can start there and then I'll push up. And they probably start there and that's how they're ending up at 82%.
Yeah.
But no, that's your max allowable offer. Start lower, guys.
But the other thing, too, is I don't even, like, I'd go to the appointment. I don't care I know what the value is because I know, but like, I don't care what they want. Like, I don't care what they want.
Until their assignment fee?
Or... No. I'm talking about sellers, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing this properly, you go on an appointment like a doctor. Oh, why'd you come see me today? Your head hurts, your stomach hurts, you broke your foot, right? Like, you're the doctor, you're the professional. So go there and figure out what they need. Oh, wait, you're just sitting behind the phone. You could still do the same acquisition techniques, slightly without the body reading, like body language reading, but sellers will hang up on you.
You can still listen and hear a dog barking in the back. You can still hear and listen and hear a kid crying, and you can make those connections.
Absolutely,
right?
You can build rapport.
That's what we mean by active listening, by the way, right? You have to make sure you're making these connections and then relate with them, right? Like, you have to explain to these people that you're actually human and you want to help them, you're not just cold calling, right? Or whatever.
I'll use the sounds in the background to my advantage. For instance, if I hear the smoke detectors chirping, maybe send them a pack of batteries, Amazon them a pack of batteries and say, I heard the background noise and it drove me crazy, so I wanted to, replace your batteries for you. If their kids are screaming, Nick's kids suck and they always scream and they drive me crazy. So I don't have any kids, thank God, but I couldn't imagine being in your situation. Dogs barking. Do you need a number for the nearest veterinarian to put him to sleep? I mean, I don't know, you gotta come prepared with solutions, bullets are cheaper than veterinarians.
Yeah. And, we have a part of virtual wholesalers as our clients. And what is your suggestion to them how to improve their process for virtual wholesaling? Because our clients sometimes buy leads all over the states or nationwide. And your tactics are pretty cool. And what we can advise to our customers.
I think kind of just what we said about the background noise, right? You kind of have to have a visual memory. You know, you kind of have to picture yourself. Okay, so I'm not going to be there. So I Google the house, street view at least, right? Look at the neighborhood, right? I kind of arm myself a little bit, just so that I can talk them through the situation. And then instead of reading like a book and going down a checklist, I'm very interactive with them. And a lot of times, if you have a seller that says, or they're very cold and it's like, Tony, I could not break the ice with this guy, I'll just call them out on it, right? So it's how you position yourself, whether it's in person or virtual. You have to position yourself as the person that can provide the service, whether it's listing, novation, wholesale. And again, I do the takeaway all the time. Like, yeah, you're right, Mr. Smith. I can't buy this. You're just asking, way too much money. I'm sorry I wasted your time. They'll usually jump back in, like, well, at least make me an offer. And, and then again, you're repositioning yourself. So you're constantly doing that dance and you're repositioning yourself like boxers. And you're just trying to see who's going to break down first. And you got to stay standing longer than them, even if it gets you the no. You just have to stay on the phone. So you say speed to lead is important, but I also think length of time engaged is a KPI that no one tracks, whether that's text messages or phone calls. The longer you talk to them, the more they don't want to talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
I don't know. Tommy did the math where like my average talk time was like 70% of the time on the phone with people, and I have a really good close rate.
Did you calculate
call?
Did you calculate the length of conversations, average length of conversations from
As long as possible.
Yeah, but in average, for example, for
phone calls, probably
yeah
north of 5 to 10 minutes. Phone calls, at least phone calls 5, 10, 15 minutes. But again, you're positioning yourself like Ivan. If I called you and I said, hey, I'm just calling because I want to buy your house, like you'd hang up on me, right? Like,
yeah.
So I have to position myself in a situation to say, hey, do you have a few minutes? Is now a good time? Can we talk now? Actually, yeah, I have a few minutes now. Great. I'll take a few minutes now. Do you think because I'm going to have, I need a lot of time. If we take a few minutes now, can I call you back tonight? Can I call you back in the morning? You have to position yourself. Again, they came to us. Now, if you're cold calling, it's a little bit different, but only because you need to get the point across that that they need something, and you got to get them to admit that they need it, outside of them submitting information on your website and you're responding to that. So 5, 10, 15 minutes on the phone at least, because you're making conversation.
and
If you're in person, you better be there for 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours. I don't care if it takes you all goddamn day. You don't leave until they make you leave.
yeah, and
What is it? After you make the offer, you shut up?
Yeah. Again,
and, about length of I mean a period of your conversation from fill out the form to the contract. Yeah, because you follow up,
Yeah,
and maybe it's average number of days or months that.
Gene asked that question, right? And it was like we try to get speed to lead that time is less than 5 minutes. So from the time the text, email, whatever it is hits, for the phone call?
No, well, so the average, I would say, is because it's difficult, right? You're going to have some that fill out the form and then they never even answer their phone. They won't even respond to you. They just ghost you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but I'm
not-
calculating the speed
no, I know.
to the.
But he's saying an average from speed to contract, right? Like
Oh.
overall.
Yeah.
So I would say the
Okay.
ones that we have to do follow up in all of those.
Could be to like that one that's 18 months right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that some of them are that long.
You're once they're in your system, this is another golden nugget, right? Like they're never not getting followed up with, right? The PPL campaign that I was talking about earlier, right? Of those 6 that came in, I promise you, some people would have not done what Jessica did and followed up and followed up and followed up until they actually broke down and worked ways to, oh, she's the professional. She's the one that's going to solve my problems. When I filled out this form, I'm going to go with her. She presented me with an offer that's going to solve all of my boxes, all of my pain points, all of my motivations. She's going to handle them all, right? Some of them are wholesale deals. Some of them we're going to, maybe do a note deal on, or all different things, right? So
So he acts speed to contract.
the average speed to contract, right? I would say a month.
Sometimes we follow up our leads, unsold leads that didn't sold on our platform. And here is the interesting fact that follow-up leads have better conversation in the contract than
Conversion. Yeah.
Why is that though? Like the simple logic behind that is because let's just say it was 3 months, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago. They got kicked in the nuts so many times by idiots and told that they couldn't do something or they couldn't get that. You finally get in touch with them and they're like, I've been told no to my price 100 times. I don't want to talk to you. Well, what was your price? And again, if it's 6 months, things change, right? Like, so go back to the pain point and be like, oh, well, what? So 100 people told you no, or 10 people told you no to your price. Why is that your price? Like, what is it? Like, can you tell me? Well, that's what I owe. Oh, okay. So you owe that, and that's more than anyone wants to pay. Again, if I didn't know that in the beginning, you don't belong on my team. So, but regardless, if I find that out later during the follow-up, I'm going to find a creative way to help that person, right? So you're definitely going to have better luck if you stay in the follow-up game, because you're the again, you have to stay standing longer than them.
Got it. Super.
I have one more question if you don't have another. So,
Well, let's
guys,
I want to let's take a look at the questions that the audience got here. Okay.
Yeah.
What do we got in here? Pick your favorite one.
So I think the only one we haven't touched on so far was Lily asking the best way to start the call if you're cold calling expired listings. We don't know. We don't touch expired listings. We don't cold call expired listings.
Yeah.
Let me say that. That's
So
what I'm
here's the
saying.
thing. On expired listings, okay, again, there's a pain there. So if you're cold calling an expired listing and you're saying, hey, Lily, this is Tony. I was just looking around. I actually was looking at another house in your neighborhood and I stumbled upon your house on Main Street and it's expired. Did you sell? No, I still live there. Or no, I have tenants in it, whatever the response is. But it's always you stumbled upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Because you don't want to, it's like, it's not predatory, but like you don't want them to feel like you're attacking them. So if it's expired, canceled, withdrawn, just didn't sell, whatever, what happened? Again, you're going in with the help. What happened?
Tell me the story.
What happened, Lily? Why didn't you sell? Oh, the agent didn't do any showings? Oh, did they not do any open houses? Oh, you wouldn't let them in the house. And now you're starting to peel back the layers of the onion and being like, you're solving the problem. So for me, whether it's an expired listing or a cold call for, one of my, honestly, just a driving for dollars type of thing. It's always I stumbled upon it. I was driving through the neighborhood. My brother lives over there. I noticed you have a ton of trees. Can I help with that? What do you mean, can you help with that? Well, I got a lawn guy. He just trimmed my mom's tree over there. I mean, I'd be willing to give you his number to help you, right? Like you're always going in from the curious, helpful side, trying to build the rapport, and then figuring out what their needs are, and then going from there.
Nice. Okay. Super. All right. Well, let's see.
Well, Ivan had a question, and it's driving.
Yeah, Ivan did have a question.
What was your question?
No. Do we have questions in the comments? If no, I can ask.
It was just Lily's that, unless
Okay.
I missed one.
It was that one, and then Lily asked about
the AI tools and for ChatGPT, it will be hard to compete with you, with your methods. But anyway, I have a question. How do you see the future of the wholesaling, and what tools you'd like to see in your process, for example, with your methods?
I think there's
That's a
more
good
regulation
question.
that's going to come down.
So I think you asked a couple things there. So what do I see coming? I don't think anyone knows what's coming. And if they say that they do, I think they're the biggest bullshit artist. Because I think we're looking at probably the most unpredictable year I've ever experienced as a human. That I can remember. This specific year is probably the most unpredictable year I've ever experienced. Now, that being said, down markets are great markets for us. There's a lot of ways to do deals on the creative side, also on the regular cash side, as long as you focus on solving problems. The average interest rate probably needs to be close to 10%. For a healthy market. That being said, a lot of people can't afford that right now. So a lot of things need to change. I think we're starting to see a lack of liquidity, which is starting to expose the wholesalers not really stumbling upon deals because all those other hard money lenders that were brokering stuff, it's kind of dried up, right? So liquidity is a huge problem, but you still have to address the seller, and they don't have liquidity. So you always have to be prepared to offer them something, and be able to offer them something, whether it's, even if it's cash for keys, short sales. We have 7 out of 30 deals right now are short sales. So whatever that conversion is, whatever that percentage is, 7 out of 30 deals on our board are short sales. So the banks are taking less than what they owe on them. The seller's still getting money because you can do that. Banks can do that. So what do I want to see? I want to see my team. I think he asked AI and like tech wise. I think one of the biggest problems is that people don't show inside the house. So I have this problem where we can't get photos and stuff like that. Like I would love for you to build a website so that our sellers can like upload their photos of the house to like something that comes over, and then we can be like, oh, that's the bathroom. That's the yeah. We should have an upload platform for photos.
We can just send them our company cam link.
Yeah.
Fixed it. Mm-hmm. Next problem.
I have an idea. For example, maybe it can be an AI checker for the follow-ups or for the first conversations, that when AI will show you, hey, red flag, you didn't propose the help to the homeowner, something like
that would be cool. That would be cool.
And I think
total
the deal,
nanny.
like, just deal analysis, right? Like if you look at if you just hang up the phone and I'm like, I talked to Nick for 30 seconds, of course I wasn't going to get a deal.
Absolutely.
But so if you're running some sort of call program and your average talk time is very, very low and you're not converting deals, then there should be a red flag. Like you said, the system says, hey, you idiot, you're not talking enough. Why aren't you hopping on the phone? Why aren't you giving more information, helping, right? That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah, frankly, what I think is coming, and I think we're going to wrap this up in a minute. But what I think is coming is, before any cool AI tools, what I think is coming is a lot of friggin' tools that are going to tell you that's the most amazing AI in the world ever, that's doing this and that and the 30 other things, and it's going to predict everything for you, and it's all going to be a fucking load of shit. And I know it because I'm a computer science guy, software guy, IBM, ex-IBM guy. You're going to see a lot of bullshit. Ain't nobody's got the money out there.
We're already seeing it, and sad, but there's nothing that beats person to person, right? Like I tried to do the whole AI responding, and none of it is worth it. You know, the speed to lead, the personal interaction, somebody needs problems to solve. Like somebody needs to talk to people and have their problems solved, right? Like that goes such a long way. Yeah, you can use them to filter out if you're going to try to just do bulk and you're lazy. Yeah, but put in the work and it's not hard. Call 300 people.
I think also you could kind of compare the health industry to the housing industry. So
everybody's dying.
Well, yes, yes. No, that's accurate. I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody that lives forever. So the as far as technology goes, you used to have to get in the car and go to the doctor to get seen to get a prescription. Now you can do it, Zoom or telehealth, whatever you want to call it, right? So I know that Open Door does their video walkthrough thing, and then they'll present you with maybe a firmer offer that's doesn't have or as long as or of an option period. So I do believe that there is an ability to. I hate FaceTime. I don't even have it turned on my phone. I won't Zoom. You're lucky I'm here. But so you could do some sort of like video walkthrough with people and help them and then have a conversation face to face. That could be, but it's really awkward for people to sit there and talk to you holding their phone. So I've seen some people do it with Open Door. It's just weird.
Yeah, I think it will be helpful tools, not instead of wholesaling or wholesalers, but around this industry to help you manage leads, help you manage prospects, help you with follow-ups and different legal stuff. Yeah, it will be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Well, I think this has been an incredible time with you guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping by.
I appreciate you having us.
You have a big day today. I don't even have American TV because I live in Italy, but I'm gonna try to find.
Perfect because I just dropped the link.
Yeah.
Merit Street Plus. Oh no, Merit Plus. I can't even talk anymore. MeritPlus.com. It's all streaming. It's free streaming. Dr. Phil has it all free streaming. Tonight at 7 p.m. is when Dr. Phil Primetime will be live, and we'll be on there.
That's awesome. I'm gonna make sure to blast that to our members that didn't make the live. So that's cool. That's exciting. Dr. Phil.
I will say for any of your members, if they want to get kicked in the nuts or have us analyze a deal, feel free. I have no problem, coaching somebody through a deal.
$100 a month is what our community costs, and I promise you, I will put it up
That's it.
against anybody's $60,000 coaching program. So
Yeah, tell us what's inside. What's inside? Tell us what's inside.
inside is everything that we've done for the past 4 years. I have contracts in there. I have deal analyzers in there. I have scripts in there. I have systems in there. I have over 300 videos of just us giving and giving and giving to other mastermind members. We've now completely revamped it and rolled it out into the community for only $100 a month.
Which is everything from
Every day I'm going to go live. I go live sitting right here for 2 hours, only in that group, to those members. If they have a deal, I analyze it, we comp it. The other day I pulled Mason in. Mason is my one of our acquisitions kid. And I was like, Mason, you've locked up year to date, and it's only April, he's locked up 10 short sales. I was like, I want to come in and do a call. And we went over short sales. Just when to use them, the leads that came in, the conversations he had. I did comp analysis on them. I do everything. It's $100 a month. If you can't afford it, I'll give you a refund.
I mean, $100 a month, dude. Like, go sell some $100 a month, man. There's something to say.
No, in there, I will. If you need anything, I'll build a list for you, right? Like during those 2-hour calls, if you want to learn how to find people, I will build a list, give it to you, and tell you to go call it. So we'll find deals for you.
And a quick sales question: did you guys check our fixed price mode?
No, not yet. I was driving when I was signing up and everything. So anything.
So you told that you use some PPL. So let me share the screen quickly and tell you what we have. So, and for those who are watching us for the first time,
I hope you get as famous as that. I hope you get as famous as that Cash Me Outside chick after tonight.
I tried, man. I said, get the fuck out, though. That's not. They had to mute me. Beep. Get the fuck. GTFO. That's the GTFO guy.
Yes, guys. So for those who are watching us for the first time, make sure you go to app.iSpeedToLead.com and use the affiliate code from REIAF to get extra bonus right away. So for those of you that are new, we have CRM. You can become one of our affiliates and refund policy. If you guys hear anything different, let me know. But according to what I know, our refund policy is the best on the market. You have whole 3 weeks to work on the leads. You can follow up, use multiple exit strategies, reach out. You have enough time. It's 3 weeks. If it's listed, under a contract, if you couldn't get a hold of anyone like for 2 weeks, if you're not considering to move, sell, or relocate, or even lacking motivation, you just can get a refund and get another lead. There is a direct phone number for support if you need any assistance. And also even my personal phone number, 254-279-6742, is on our platform. And the thing that we want to talk about is the fixed price mode. This is where you guys can customize your perfect lead according to your parameters. So to just put it together, just go to fixed price mode. It's in the menu on the left. And you will see right away the parameters, geo settings, and you'll be able to put your budget and get the lead that will perfectly match your parameters. In our case, if you guys are, let's say, doing business in Texas, so you just go to, I don't know, Alabama. It looks like I showed it for someone, but you want to put Texas. Are you guys doing just Dallas, or you doing Dallas?
Well, we'll just do Dallas for the conversation. Nope.
So if you guys are doing Dallas, you can just select Dallas, and after that you can go and select exact parameters for every lead. So for example, if you don't want leads that have motivation, sell and rent instead, or just sell without showings or downsizing, you can easily unselect those and you wouldn't get those leads.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
sure.
Does the price change if we add different filters or remove different filters, or is it the same no matter what?
Right. Yeah. So for every filter, you just pay from $5 to $10, and you can take advantage of like you can select and do with
So
the filter anything you want.
I'm going to talk for you here and just say that is huge right there, because I can pretty much filter in my exact avatar of who I want to come to me. So
That's exactly what it's made.
And this is what I wanted to ask. Yeah. So if you guys have
and
any
if people
feeling,
don't know what their avatar is, $100 a month, we'll build your avatar. I'll show you exactly what it is, because you need to know what the hell you're buying and what your avatar is.
That's great. Yes, guys. So if you need any help to understand what's your perfect lead, and actually it's a really good comment, since I have a lot of people like asking me, what would you put? I was like, I'm not wholesaling, so I hope you know, but if you don't, I can tell you what other customers do.
Not yet.
But yeah,
Older than 10 years, all that fun stuff.
Right. So you can do motivations, you can target properties. So mobile home lands are excluded by default, but if let's say you don't want to get condominiums, you can do it here too. Square footage, any size, year of construction, repairs. If let's say you don't want to get pristine condition houses or houses that have some structural problems, you can work here too. How fast they want to sell. Let's say if you want to get more aggressive. How long have you owned the property in years? If you target any of those, if you need like some more equity. But keep in mind, guys, that let's say properties that have death in the family motivation or inherited properties, they will be typically falling somewhere here. So you keep in mind not to, cancel out some of the leads for yourself. And anyone living in a house, bedrooms, bathrooms, and even mortgage duration, you guys can work with that. You can select every parameter for your lead, just connect your card, enter the budget. Minimum is 1,000. So, and you can go as high as it possible. You get a discount with the higher budget and with more counties. So if you do, let's say 10 counties, you get the maximum discount. And if needed, we also have available statewide and nationwide packages that you can take advantage of. So and how it works, after you activate it, it just goes to our system, to Ivan's team, and let's say, hey, we have a new fixed price mall user. We need to generate leads in those areas. And we start getting you leads. When we have a lead that matches your parameters, we give it to you and we charge your balance or we charge your card. And it's just going like this one by one, but we wouldn't go over your maximum budget. Those leads are exclusive. They're generated just for you. They're going directly to your CRM. So if you want to do the integration, and the typical closing ratio is from 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 12 on average. So again, depending on exit strategies.
If you're new and you don't learn a single strategy except for wholesaling, and you're new and you wait until these leads expire for hours, don't even expect a 1 out of 10. Okay. If you're brand new and you don't want to get into any kind of coaching program, I mean, these guys at REI, as fuck, as I like to say it, I'm sorry, you put it in there, so I have to say what I have to read it how I think it. So so if you're not in a coaching program and you're new and you're expecting some kind of crazy closing ratio, don't, because you're a one-trick pony. You have just one strategy under your belt, and even that strategy you're probably not very good at because you're not getting coached, you're not getting punched in the face, right? Like these guys are telling you. So don't even expect a 1 out of 10 ratio with any kind of leads, right? But if you got, I was talking to Brent yesterday, right? Their shop, they've got all the strategies, right? These guys, they've got creative, they've got all of this different stuff, right? And then if you also, like I always recommend people, if it's really retail, you may even get a refund for a lead if they want more than market price. But if it's retail, go and speed dial your realtor and connect the call. Don't drop the call. Oh, my realtor will call you. Yeah, no, they won't fucking call them because your realtor doesn't call. But if you call him, you call the seller, and your seller's still here, like, Mr. Seller, hold on, I got someone that you have to talk to because they're gonna change your life in a moment. Boom, they're fucking sitting there waiting. You connect them. That's all you got to do, right? And you're all of those things, all these closing strategies, your close ratio will go high. You will get paid on every single lead, right? You will get paid on every single something. Okay.
I got one better for you. Don't call the realtor. Yeah, because solving that problem, everyone knows a realtor. But if you can help them buy or move into their next thing, you're really good. So if you can say, you can connect them to a loan officer that you know is like a baller closer, and they have to get out of this house into the next one, and your loan officer takes care of them, especially if they have shitty credit and can't really afford things, then their loan officer is like, oh yeah, I got you. And he works it, a miracle. Like, so connecting them to the next thing is just as helpful as getting them out of the thing that they're trying to sell.
Incredible. That's awesome. So yeah, there you go, guys. Don't be a one-trick pony. Get into a coaching program. Like with a heavy heart, sometimes like I'm like, yeah, go to a coaching program, and it's like that coaching was like 20 grand. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. Or it's like 8 grand, and you got to do payments, and then like your next payment's coming up. I can only imagine how many stories are out there where you'll spend your last money on coaching, bought it on a credit card. I bought my first coaching program for 5 grand on a corporate credit card, on an IBM credit card. I'm not proud of it. I did it. It worked out okay. All right. But it may not work out okay for everybody. So, yeah, $100 a month for coaching with these guys. Boom. Okay. So don't even think about it and get in, and you're going to close more leads that you're buying. So, hey, I really, really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you stopping by here, especially since you've got all kinds of stuff going on today. Nick, Tony, Yuri, Ivan, I had a really good time with y'all. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all. Take care.
All right. We'll talk
Appreciate
soon,
it,
everybody. Have a
Later,
good evening.
guys.
iSpeedToLead. Let's go.